Trying again.
Sean speaking.
Sean, Danny D'Angelo. I'm calling on some commercial space here in McHenry, Illinois. Wanted to discuss lease terms with you. This is North Front Street, if that's on your radar at all. There's a laundromat there.
Correct.
That is the spot that I am interested in. I've been in the laundromat business for about 15 years, and we are always looking for space with infrastructure. You know, the gas, water, electric is what we are after. Our group likes to sign long-term leases and then retool those stores. I don't know if you have a tenant there, and the tenant's been trying to sell the business for some time. But full disclosure, Sean, we don't really buy the place. I don't see any value in that. And my MO is discussing lease terms with you, seeing if that is a viable alternative, and then at some point retooling that store, doing well. It's good business if you know what you're doing and you're, smart enough not to buy them when someone's selling that failure.
It's that particular building, the laundromat is not actually available. It's the two empty spaces next to it that we have available.
Right.
The building owner has a successful laundromat there and not interested in turning that space.
Okay, so the operator is also the landlord.
Correct. And,
Okay.
and the two individual spaces are available. One's $580 and the other one's $1180, I believe.
Sure. No, I hear you. That's where we got your phone number. And Sean, you're obviously good at your job and you're thinking in one direction, whereas lease empty space. But again, my group is looking to lease laundromat space. I'm always after infrastructure, and I'm not going to call you out, but you're aware they've been trying to sell the business rights.
So the gentleman who owns the building and owns the laundromat at one point in time was talking about selling the laundromat and then selling the whole building, and now has made an agreement with an entity, I believe, to take that whole strip center over from him at some point in time. But I don't believe his intention today is to sell any of it, because I do believe he has an agreement in the future with someone to buy the whole entity.
Okay. So again, we're talking about the landlord who is also the laundromat operator. And we did notice, again, we have our finger on the pulse, if you will, of these stores all over Illinois.
Sure.
And what we saw is that it was on Buy Biz Sell, which is, obviously available for the public to see as well as brokers. And then it went away. So that jives with what you're saying. Let me say this, call this an introduction. I'm glad I got you on the phone. I will continue to look for laundromat space with infrastructure. Our intention is to move forward as long as that infrastructure is sound. Normally, it's a laundromat in this type of condition. It's not the best, it's not the worst. It looks like they've redone the floors here, they've painted the walls, and the one thing they didn't do is equipment swap. Obviously, that is very costly, and once you've retooled the store, you're going to actually make a lot more money. And that's always our goal. I'm not interested in running it the way it is. That should make sense to you.
Sure. There's another laundromat in McHenry available. Have you spoken with Denny Drake? I believe he has it listed.
I think the disconnect here is the one thing. I don't buy laundromats at any price. It's just not. Yeah.
I understand, but if you're reaching out to see if there's an availability, I was just letting you know that there is a laundromat entity that's been for sale for a long time and has not been able to turn it, who might be interested in doing something that you're speaking of. I'm not sure.
Sure.
I just know that laundromat's been on the market for quite some time.
Yeah, we know of that store, and I believe that we actually have been in communication with the landlord and his agent. He's trying to sell the building as well. And we, again, no pressure from my end. Um, Eventually, there's several directions. They sell the building, they sell the business as that entity. The operator sells it, and the landlord signs a new lease, or everybody gives up the ghost and just says, "Well, hell, let's have another operator move in," and that's usually us. That's all. No pressure, no time
Oh,
constraints.
and that's why I thought I'd mention it, because I
Yeah.
do know that that operator has not been doing a great job there, and they could certainly use some help in that realm. But yes, I mean, it is the building has been on the market for a long time, along with the business. So
Right.
again, just wanted to mention it to see. I believe that my guy has made an arrangement with one of his other buildings, and so he's made an arrangement to sell both of these, which sounds like why it probably came off of the site you were looking at. But this one in particular, this one seems like they could certainly use some help. So I just wanted to mention it to you because it might be a great win for everybody.
Sure. No, I appreciate that very much. Remind me, what's the agent's first name?
His name is Dennis Drake.
Yeah. We have been in contact with Dennis. All right, let me fire you off an email. This is your cell I've reached you on?
You reached me actually at my office, but yeah, this is the best number.
Okay. Text me that. This is my wireless. So if you don't mind, text me back your email address, and we're good folks to have in the Rolodex, as at the end of the day, we're always looking for that laundry infrastructure, not car washes, not dry cleaners, but coin laundromats. It's a good business if you get into it properly, and you're in it for the long haul. The retool is the next thing, and it's pretty costly, but we have the connections with those, all of HIP, Speed Queen, Wascomat. I could bore you to tears with laundromat operations, but I won't. Thanks for the time,
Sure.
Sean.
What was your first name? Sorry.
Cheers. Well, what a lovely guy. And it's always funny to me that he's really not listening until he is. 3 times he says, "Oh, you want to buy it?"
Right.
They're selling it. And it is really a poltergeist store, because looking at this, it looks like they prepped it for sale. You've got a bunch of really old top loaders. You've got single stack tumblers, the dryers, and yet brand new floors, paint on the walls, and drop ceiling. So this is like an ideal, hey, let's sell this store to somebody that doesn't know any better.
Yeah.
That's what it looks like to me.
I have seen the other one he's talking about there. It's well, maybe we'll put something together, call them next week. But it's one of those where there's nothing else in the building. It's just a laundromat.
Freestanding.
Building. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I could see you typing away that we know of the guy, or I would have asked for his connection as well.
Yeah.
He texted his email address, so I'll send him a follow-up email. Hey, goal done. I think that this is one that, Vinny, you want to keep an eye on, obviously, because this landlord sounds wishy-washy. He's not certain what he wants to do. We can tell. It's on buy, biz, sell. It's taken off of buy, biz, sell. He might not. And if he doesn't get what he wants for it, or, savvy operators, don't forget, Illinois is the mecca of laundries, and a lot of folks there know what the heck they're doing, and that's why it sits $150,000. One flip side is, oh, well, that's worth the infrastructure, but that's not what they're trying to sell. Now he's got somebody on the hook that wants to buy the whole enchilada. We'll see. Keep an eye on it. Let me know what you see and what changes there.
Okay.
Elm Street, the worn out store. Bob.
This is McHenry too, and this guy, he never answers his phone.
He's going to answer right now.
Good.
I just know it. I've got a feeling. You want to bet $100?
His name. I do not want to bet $100 until I have 3 stores. Then I'll bet you 100 on whatever you want.
All right.
But this guy has his name's been on other stores too. So
okay.
He might know if we don't get this one, he might have other ones.
Roger. Here we go. Confidence is high. Little dialing music, Paul. Come on, Bob.
Hi, this is Pretty. I'm unable to answer your call right now, but please leave me a message and I will return your call as soon as possible. Thanks and have a great day.
Bob, Danny. Wonderful. LMTCB, as they say. Scrolling. You could have made $100 right there.
Good.
Can't think that way when you're a gambler. Plum Grove, the washed up store. We never.
Oh, Julian's not going to answer.
Would you stop? You might be right. Come on, Jolene, do your job. Wish I just had to, like 50 cents for all of these messages. Should I be rude? Here we go. Sorry. Goodbye. Let's see. He was going to call her. Do.
Hi, this is Jolene Hoffman with Plum Grove Properties, Edgewater, 1700 West Diversity. I can't come to the phone right now, but if you leave a message, I'll get back to you just as soon as I can. Thanks for calling.
Jolene.
To review the voicemail, press 1. To send the voicemail now, press 2. To discard and re-record, press 3. For
Maybe I should text her.
I have a feeling that it's not a cell, but maybe that's the number. When you drive into that plaza, there's a couple of empty stores. The number is all over it, and then on the main sign it says leasing information and that number, and that's the person whose name is associated with it.
Look, you've been doing this with me long enough. I am unimpressed when a realtor doesn't return calls. And I think I can only speculate. I think it goes back to she doesn't have empty space. And so, but you're hearing a guy call you week in, week out and leave messages. Right. We have to be ambiguous because we can't mention this space, but
right. But they definitely do have empty spaces with that number.
Okay. Well, then it doesn't make a damn bit of sense.
Well, that's why. Right?
It just doesn't.
All right. The next one, it's been closed and it's smaller. I zoomed in on one of the pictures here to see if the connection is what we need. That's on the
okay, because it's been stripped. Yeah, the first thing that I'm always looking for is the copper, because if the copper's there, then you know everything else is. The first thing they're going to strip is after the machines is the copper piping. There's the most dollars and cents. All the do-re-mi is there. So we don't need to concern ourselves with whether or not the electric wiring is there, because that's got less value. It's harder to get at. It needs to be stripped. The copper is here. So this could be a good footprint. The only thing that's in question is whether or not the landlord wants a laundromat there. So we're going to do our level best to make them understand. Obviously, it's a great business. All right. This is the first time we're dialing this.
This is our first time calling them. And it's been closed for, dude, when I bought your DVD, back when you did DVDs, I mean, this is at least 2 years closed, at least maybe 3 or 4.
Why haven't we reached out?
Well, we haven't reached out because we talked about it before, but I didn't have a picture of I didn't know if the copper and stuff was in there.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Confidence is high. Yeah, hi, my name's Danny. Hi.
Hi.
My name's Danny. I'm looking at some commercial space for lease here in Wooddale. There's Georgetown Square.
Yes.
Is that your building, sir? Are you the landlord?
Yes.
Awesome.
I am. How much square feet are you looking for?
Well, I'm specifically looking at the former laundromat space. That's my intrigue, as that's what I do. My partner and I are in the laundry business, and if the infrastructure is there, if we can come to terms on a very long-term lease, we would be interested in retooling that store and making a go of it.
Understood. You want to meet over there?
Well, I'd love to. Frankly, I'm making several calls today all over Illinois, and I want to make sure you're not crazy, I'm not crazy. If the terms are close and appropriate. Again, I've been doing this for a long time. I kind of know where I need to be before I spend the money on washers and dryers, and not looking for background or specifics on what happened here or why, as long as it's not an outward issue. We've scouted the area. We don't see any other laundromat killers, what I call the big stores that have just been retooled. So it just might make sense.
I'm sorry, have you been to the space?
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I wouldn't call if I hadn't. Yeah.
Okay.
It looks like the infrastructure is there. The gas, water, electric is in place from what we can see through the glass.
So, in a perfect world, where do you need to be at per square foot
What's your name, sir?
to make this work? Chris.
Chris. In a perfect world, I would own the building, wouldn't I? And then I wouldn't have any lease to deal with. But that is your building. And the way my father taught me to negotiate, I can't really start. I can't give you a price. If you do ask me flat out, and I want to say this wholeheartedly, laundromats are very different because we've got a huge debt service ahead of us for that equipment. It's not a dollar store where we're trying to buy something from China and sell it for double. In that case, it's not a service-oriented business like a nail salon where you've got dozens of employees. Did you ever operate the laundromat yourself?
I do not, but
okay. Well, I only ask because then I'm kind of preaching to the choir in that way, where you know what it takes to be successful. It's a big chunk up front. So I'll ask, and I know it's been vacant.
No. I'm just saying that, like, I have two other properties that have laundromats in them, so I'm familiar with those.
Oh, you're kidding! Wow. Okay. And my MO again for several years has been looking at existing laundromats, be they opened, closed, for sale or not. I don't buy the stores. I made that mistake a long time ago. I don't see any value inherently in the goodwill or the business rights or even the infrastructure, which is truly what we are after. I don't know if the boiler works here. It probably doesn't because it's been closed for so long, but we're not trying to get away with murder. We're trying to avoid building out a laundromat, if you will, and retooling it. I don't know, Chris, if you own the building outright, if you have a mortgage, that's your business, but I will ask two questions. What's the exact square footage, and what would be your asking rate on a 15-year term?
Yeah, so you caught me off guard with the square footage because I don't have. I mean, I'm not at my office now where I have it there. But again, I mean, I'm flexible on the terms. Obviously, if you're saying a 10-year lease, that's more favorable for both of us. And so, the going rate, over there is somewhere around, $12 a square foot. Tax and cam is probably another $12.50. That being said, if somebody was to come in with a serious plan, and look to seriously improve the premises, I'd work with them and I'd meet them halfway, and we'd figure out something to make it work for both of us.
I can't tell you how much I appreciate your saying that. I have the same sentiment. Let me say this. You said one thing I'm going to pick on, Chris, that the going rate. And like I said, in a laundromat scenario, you have other stores that are actually operating your other two laundromat locations. Do you have tenants there?
Yeah.
Okay. So you understand.
And quite frankly, I would have brought them over there, but the space was too small for them.
Right. Well, that's precisely why before we get into the who's and what's and ifs and buts, I do need to know the size. I don't assume you know how many washers or dryers were connected there.
I don't know.
Because we're looking for a minimum of 1,500 square feet. It's like you said with your other operators, I don't get too excited. I can only assume, since this is Chicagoland, that plenty of folks have looked at the space. I don't know if you know, Chicago is the mecca of laundromats, but if it is too small, we don't get excited about it. I need at least 25 washer connections in order for it to make sense. But I am avoiding environmental impact fees. Cards on the table, it can work for us. And, we can get to 12.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely 1,500 square feet there.
Okay. But again, that is the bare minimum. You can't put a McDonald's
Right.
restaurant in a walk-in closet, and you can't build a laundromat I prefer 2,000 and above. There's no 10,000 square foot laundromats. That just doesn't work. So somewhere in between is that happy medium. What I would like to do,
Right.
Look, firstly, if in fact there's 25 washer connections, we can likely start at $10 a square foot. I can't do anything about your cams, your triple net, et cetera, and go from there. But first of all, I'd like to send my partner out to have a closer look and see what connections we have there. Like you said in the beginning, being certain that once we're in the space that it would have a good footprint for us, if that's okay.
Sure.
I'll also, let me send you an email as well, some of the before and after pictures of our stores, what we do, how we do it. Like you said, all boats rise with the tide, and we don't intend to run the place the way it was. No, there are no national chains that exist in laundries, but we try to give that consumer, like everybody says they do, but we do treat them with a lot of respect. We run our stores 24/7. We put Alexa systems in the store. We reach out to local police departments. We make sure that we've signed rights to trespass, so that when we see some shenanigans and the knuckleheads are in there, we get them zipped up right away. Running a good laundromat, really, you become not only a good tenant, but a good neighbor. So that's certainly our intention. This is the inception of it. Text me your email address. Is this your cell phone I'm calling you on?
Well, it depends what number. Because sometimes if you call the actual property number forwards to my cell number, so I don't know what number you called.
1685. It forwards to your number.
1685.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah,
sign.
that's you called the 630, right?
Yeah, there's a sign on the plaza. Okay.
Yeah. So that's the that's our management company's phone number, and that number, if I'm not in the office, forwards to my cell number.
Yeah, that's correct.
And so let me know when somebody wants to meet out there, and we'll, like I said, if it works for us, it works. If not, then
100%.
We explore the option.
Appreciate the time. I'll have Vinny reach out, and we'll try to beat you up on the rent if, in fact, it's got a good footprint for us. What's your last name, Chris?
Okay. Chris, Triola.
Say that again?
Triola.
You're not Italian, are you?
Today I am, yeah.
Danny D'Angelo. We'll get along good, Paisan. All right. Thanks for the time.
All right.
Cheers.
Text you as soon as we hang up.
All right. Well, there you have it. He was awful hesitant about admitting the Italian there. He thought I was going to jump down his throat, I think.
Well, it's still Chicago. He might have to come up with an envelope for somebody every month.
Yeah.
So the picture, when it was operational, I mean, it is a smaller space. I mean, he's saying 1,500 square feet. It may be, but I mean, at this point,
it's a bowling alley store. I can see from the photo that on the left, that's where they had the tumblers, the dryers, and the roof penetrations are there. The water is there. You can do top loaders all along that wall and probably blow out that office and do tumblers on the other wall. It's called a bowling alley store. And then down the center, you'll put all of the folding.
okay.
But let's not get too excited just yet. Oh yeah,
I've learned that.
I see the nice photo. Yeah, they have some more washers in the back even that they've done there. Yeah, it could work. We're starting a little small, but you don't have to be in that position where you're saying, oh no, it's too small for you and or us. He wrote Chris, no last name, Triola. Let's try Bob one more time at the top of the list. Bruce, I'm sorry.
Bruce. Oh yeah. Okay.
So this is Main Street, Algonquin, Illinois, and he had texted back that he would be able to reach out in a minute. Let me see if he texted me. So this is pretty telling, right? He texts back, he smashes the button that says, can I call you later? And that's an automatic text. And I say, sure, we're calling about Algonquin. And then he texts back and says, how can I help you? People want to text. People fear negotiating. So he's scared to get on the phone with me in some small way. All right. I'm not saying he's fearful of a conversation, but okay, he might be at a kid's birthday party, let's face it. I mean, it's, what is it, a Wednesday afternoon. But most of the time when people prefer texting, it's because he doesn't want to actually get raked over the coals by somebody, even in a small way. That should make sense.
We talked to him the first time we talked to him. He picked up right away.
Let's hit him back up and see if we can get this Greek tragedy off the ground. Here we go. Come on, Bruce.
Hi, it's Bruce.
Hey,
Hello.
Bruce. Danny, the laundry guy. How's it going?
Going good.
Excellent.
Yeah, just got off a Zoom call, so
Oh, no problem. I love those Zoom calls. Nobody said nobody ever.
gathering my thoughts. But anyhow, I got your text there. So where are we with this Algonquin situation? I know we talked about it.
Well, we're close, obviously, but prior to sending out a letter of intent, we want to make sure that we can survive on a 15-year term. We're going to be obviously retooling the store with new equipment. What's in there is junk. You know, the previous operator couldn't survive. We'd like to make sure. I'm after infrastructure. That's what we're always looking for. It's that simple. And the rate of rent is the discussion that we have to have. We have to make sure that we get some hefty abatement up front so we can get on our feet. You know about supply chain issues. It's everything. Whether you want to buy a mini bike for your kids, there's parts that are made in China and it's hard to get a hold of everything. So we're in the same boat. We can put a letter of intent in your hands, but I want to make sure that it won't be ignored so that we can discuss what not only typical abatement looks like, but we probably need to stretch that a bit because it is a laundromat. And I'm not trying to rake you over the coals here and make a ton of money up front. I'm trying to get our feet on the ground. It's also hard to bring the consumer back. I don't want to educate you on laundromats, but everyone that did use this service center has found another laundry. And they are creatures of habit, obviously. So we need to drag them back with kicking and screaming. It's not always easy.
I understand. How realistic the landlord is. I do not know on those subject matters. So all you can do is put something in front of him and see what he says.
All right. We're already close. It's 1,862 square feet. I know what your ask is. You know, we're going to drop the beginning rate because we can get to $2,200 a month, but we need to top out there. In the beginning, it's just that crushing debt service. And we don't just retool the store one time, Bruce. We're going to retool about every 7 years. Ironically, the equipment starts to need to be serviced far too often, and our tax benefits run out. And when that happens, it's time to retool. So we're in it long haul. We might even put, if the landlord's getting a little long in the tooth and it's a freestanding building like this, we might even put first right of refusal so that we might buy the building from him at some point during that lease term.
Mm-hmm.
Did I email you?
Your question was what? Did you what?
Did I email you?
I think you did, but
Before and after pictures of the stores and what we do and how we do it.
oh no, I think I did not get that from you.
This is your cell, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Text me your email address. We're going to put a letter of intent together. We're going to include what we need to be successful and run it up the flagpole, as they say.
All right.
Feel free to call me direct, not into a lot of back and forth with the letter of intent. You know, if it's an immediate no or yes, just hit me up or text me.
Okay.
Thanks, Bruce.
All right, Dan. Bye.
Cheers. Well, Vinny, I don't know. It looks like you might just have one LOI and one interested party in the same day. You're going to be the king of Illinois laundromats before you know it.
Hey, this has been one of our more successful days on here.
Couldn't agree more. For anybody that sticks to it like you, it happens. That's all there is to it.
Good, and I don't give a shit. Whatever I got to take on, if they get 2 at once, that's a bonus to me. I'll take fucking 5 of them. I'll take 5 of them, not the other word.
You know I'm going to get in trouble on YouTube, you silly
Sorry.
SOB. All right, dude, anything else? I will send you the LOI, and I have both emails here, so I'm going to CC you in those emails to them direct. I'm not going to send Bruce an email because I think the first thing we'll do is send that LOI.
Okay.
Letter of intent. Thanks, Vincenzo.
Hey, Dan, for the where do we start on the? Because their ask is $2,200. Where do for the LOI? What do we want to start?
Yeah, good question. He's asking $2,200 for 1,862 square feet. He's really close to $1 a square foot. I would write it for $11.
Okay.
Which is obviously less than 1, less than 12, a little bit more than 80 cents a square foot. Just write it for $11. And ask him for a year free.
All right.
It gives us
I'll get it done and
it gives us the outlet to come back. You always want to ask big. Ask for the moon and the sun and the stars, because then at the end of the day, we can always backtrack from there.
Right. Okay.
Don't hold your breath.
Good. I'll send it to you.
Thanks, Vinny.
All right, man. Thanks.
Cheers. Well, there you have it. A live landlord call thing. I've got the one-way conversation going on with you people because I can't really say... I can say whatever I want, but I can't hear you. So if the comments are there, looks like... This one seems like a winner. Hi, thanks for that. Good, I didn't miss it, says Nathan. Always hungry for information. Corey Edwards, hi, Danny. Hello, all. I want to learn something watching Danny. Thank you. Always learn something watching Danny. Appreciate you. Interesting you say that no one wants to talk. I'm finding that more and more. John, a regular on the channel. Guys, I'm going to start doing more and more of these lives, and instead of trying to create content by unedited calls, we're going to do this. We're going to hear the everything, and we're going to hear from folks in Illinois, Arizona, LA, New York. I've got a client currently working in Australia, another one outside of Paris. So don't think for a minute that I am pigeonholed. If you're brand new here and you're looking at this, whatever the YouTube thumbnail ends up being, this is what I do. I'm here to help. I'm here to get you into the laundromat business. I'm not narrow-minded. I just know what works. And signing a long-term lease to begin your laundromat operation is what works. Closed the lease yesterday, starting the process today, and tomorrow will likely be the same. If you really want to own cash laundromats and change everything, start with the course. There's going to be a thing here. And if you enjoy this or hate it or anything in between, like and subscribe. Thanks, kids. Oh, comment. It helps the algorithm, it helps the channel, and it helps me to do more of this in many, many ways. And I love it. I enjoy you're here commenting in the live, but that goes away as soon as I publish this. So comment. Talk to you, kids.